All right, Steve Says Boom fans here on YouTube. Welcome back. Now, you may be wondering, why haven't you been posting anything? I've actually been attempting to post things, but in previous videos and uploads, I was using my phone for some strange reason. And I have talked with millions of people and experts all over the world as to why my phone can't upload anything. And there is no consensus. No one understands. I actually mentally got through to Steve Jobs, and even he was unable to provide answers. So, unable to use my phone, I was like, well, I know we can use the computer. So here is my first attempt at uploading on the computer. Unfortunately, the voice isn't as clear here, but at least I can get my point across. Now, what's the point of this little video today? Well, we're dealing with Marvel Phase 4 right now. We're dealing with Guardians of the Galaxy number 3, and specifically the news that's buzzing around the internet and about the comics world is that the actor has been cast for Warlock, Adam Warlock, or him, depending on which version we are going to get. But it's now set in stone, it's done, we know it's coming. There were some other rumors that we weren't going to get Adam, we were going to get, something else. However, it looks like we're going to be going the traditional route, which sort of makes me very happy. Now, with that being said, what is happening in our little comic world here? As we know, Warlock has quite a long history. It goes all the way back to the 1960s, or the Silver Age. Has a beautiful 1970s era, and of course, a very abundant 1990s, where he was involved, in all the cosmic stuff, for 3 years in a row, across every title, basically. So, with that being said, what's hot right now? What book is taking the heat? Or books are taking the heat? Everyone has to start right here, basically, in my opinion. You've got to start off with Fantastic Four 66. This is the first appearance of the Cocoon. Of course, it's Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, at their best. Just beautiful stuff right here. When I mean at their best, I mean within the entire industry, not just over at Marvel. No one was writing at this level of sophistication in comics at this time. You run over to DC, Snorefest. Nothing going on to reach the quality of this. What is fascinating, of course, is that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were also working on Thor at the same time and having just as much of an impact. Their creative ideas were amazing, pushing all sorts of boundaries. It's incredible. You can imagine, a writing team managing to do it on one book, but 2 for years on end. So, I just wanted to let you guys know that we're talking about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby at their peak. Now, in issue 66, of course, we get to see the Cocoon and what lurks in the beehive, and Alicia Masters is being, hired to try and make contact with the whatever's inside the beehive. Now, issue 67 right there. Now we get to see the Cocoon open, and we get a brief appearance of him. Remember, he's not called Adam Warlock right now. He's not called Warlock or anything. He's just him. He's just a mysterious being that's been created by 3 extremely intelligent scientists that are breaking all sorts of moral rules, but they don't care. They have an idea, and they want to use this new being to basically conquer the world. But him has other ideas. A lot of heat on this book. And of course, what makes that book so difficult for collectors is that white cover. That white cover just loves to get dirty, scuffed, stained, fingerprints. If you get a book above 8.5, for an issue 67, you're doing very well. And I hope you've already got it, because the prices on that book right now are screaming, going through the roof. However, that's not the hottest book right now. I'd have to say, after the amount of requests that I've had via Torpedo Comics, the hottest book right now is this issue. And that there is Thor 165. And there he is. There's him in all his glory. His first full cover appearance right there. He's just wearing, some trunks. You can see his gold skin. And he comes out of the cocoon and he's curious. And one of the first things he's curious about is women. So he decides that he's going to have a mate. And he chooses the Lady Sif. Not the best idea for this brand new being, because Thor is not very happy. And in fact, Thor is so enraged by this audacity that he loses his temper. And he is just beside himself. And even his fellow Asgardians are like, "Oof, what's going on here?" However, he has to protect the Lady Sif. And this character, him, is not following any of the social norms because he doesn't know about social norms. He's fresh out of the cocoon. He's a brand new being, and all he knows is that he wants. What does he want? He wants a Lady Sif. And who wouldn't? She's magnificent, always has been. So that issue is getting a tremendous amount of heat as the first full long appearance of him. I would say that's probably the hottest book right now in all of the Warlock books that are out there, even more than the 67 of Fantastic Four. Another hot book right there, just following close behind the 65, is the 166. This is the actual battle issue. This is the issue where, him actually showcases enormous powers and abilities. It would have crushed anyone else. He just happened to be coming up against Thor, who he loses his temper completely and falls prey to an ancient Asgardian curse, which is called the Warrior Madness, something that's forbidden in the whole of Asgard. The crimes, being death or banishment. But Warlock pushes Thor so much that Thor pounds him back into his cocoon. And off he goes into space. And then Thor has got to deal with the repercussions of losing his temper and falling prey to the Warrior Madness, which is explored later on when Odin says, "I can't have you on Asgard like this, and I'm going to send you away on a special quest, a mission where you can cool off a little bit." And of course, that mission was to locate Galactus. More on that on another video. Back to Warlock right now. So, where does Warlock end up? He basically gets taken in by the High Evolutionary in 1972 in a book called Marvel Premiere. Now, this is Roy Thomas and Gil Kane. And Roy has an idea for the character. He's like, well, yes, there's a slight homage right there to Captain Marvel, or, Shazam as he's known today. Because Roy Thomas is an extremely well-versed creator in all things DC and Golden Age and Fawcett. And he had an idea for this character that was in limbo and no one was doing anything with him. So he teamed up with one of his favorite artists, Gil Kane, and they came up with this whole new storyline where he was going to be going through a learning curve of humanity under the watchful eye of the High Evolutionary on his own planet to play with, which had been built by the High Evolutionary, called Counter Earth, which was, orbiting Earth, the opposite side of the moon. So it just goes around. No one can really see it, but it's there. It's really good stuff. However, whether it found its audience and who its audience was confusing at the time. Still confident that he had a hit on his hands here, and sales were good enough to warrant it. Warlock #1 begins, continuing directly from Marvel Premiere #2. The Marvel Premiere #1 right now is also heating up dramatically, which is the second time it's heated up in the last couple of years, because obviously it features the first appearance of the Soul Gem, so we had a lot of heat and speculation on that just before the Avengers Infinity War and such, because we knew the Infinity Gems were going to be used. It goes all the way back to the Avengers movie. However, a new wave of heat has gone on. This book's flying up. You just check on eBay, you can see, wow. You can check on the CGC and look at all the little arrows going up. Hot book. However, it's hot as blazes now, but the series actually came to a halt to issue 8 in 1973. It sort of stumbled along, didn't find its audience at the time, which was obviously very disappointing for Roy Thomas. But it's like, okay, we're going to put this book away and then we'll concentrate on something else. For those of you who are into everything Warlock, he appears next in Incredible Hulk 175, 176, 177, and 178. And then after that, he appears in the next really hot book. I don't understand why those Hulk books aren't hotter right now. I think maybe they will get more hotter and more demand. I can imagine the prices going through them right now. But from the requests that I'm getting, the next hot book we're getting is this. Strange Tales 178. And this is where Warlock is taken under the writing chores of Mr. Jim Starlin. Now, Jim Starlin, of course, was fresh off of his magnificent cataclysmic epic in Captain Marvel, where he featured Thanos trying to basically destroy large sections of the universe with the cosmic cube. It was a massive story. Jim was fairly new to Marvel at the time, but after that storyline, he was like the go-to man for cosmic. And interestingly enough, he was intrigued with the character of Warlock and said, okay, let's see what I can do with this character. And wow, did he get off with a bang. Of course, he introduces us to the Warlock's evil future version, which is the Magus, and begins a whole new massive plot line. And Strange Tales, of course, goes from 178, 179, 180, 181. Of course, in those issues, we also see the appearances of Pip, Gamora, and unfortunately, by issue 15, the book is cancelled, because Jim, has other plans for later on. And of course, we're going to see later on in regards to Warlock's appearances, if the appearances in Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 2 and Avengers Annual 7 have a spike. That's for another story. But for right now, the issues that I showed you are the issues that are screaming hot right now. And I'm just hoping and praying as a fan of the character. I mean, I shouldn't even say that. I'm like a mega fan of Warlock. One of the most special moments of my comic reading in the 1990s is when Warlock came back in the Silver Surfer. Basically came back out of a Soul World and got involved in that huge Infinity trilogy. I adore all of that stuff. So I'm a little bit scared about what's going to be happening in the movie. I have a suspicion that we're going to be dealing with him, the rather unknowing new entity with his golden skin. He may progress within the movie, because obviously they can't, spend years on, a character these days right now. They want to sort of get going. So he could progress within the movie up to a point where it becomes more sophisticated, but then we're going to have to see that. And that also determines what other books may become hot, or even, hot again, because Warlock's been hot for quite a while, and the cosmic stuff has been hot. Jim Starlin has been a superstar now for many years. But for all of us Marvel Phase 4 fans who are waiting with bated breath, for the Guardians of the Galaxy and for the new Spider-Man film and for the Doctor Strange movie. We're going to have an amazing time, I think. And the Warlock will just be like the cherry on the icing, as I like to say. So, with that being said, for those of you who are looking for those appearances, good luck. Unfortunately, the prices are already like steaming along. Now, if you have those books, you can just sit there and laugh and smile, crack open a little bit of champagne, and thank your lucky stars that you already got the book and you were already a fan. If you're a speculator and you don't have the books, you're going to have to pay right now. That's just the way it goes. So, hopefully you enjoyed this little YouTube video. And secondly, I hope this format gets uploaded correctly. And if so, we will be getting a lot more. I will see you next time. Boom!